everybody, it's Helen from the Resin Rainbow here. I'm going to do another coaster pour today. when I was doing my last coaster pour with the vinyl cutouts and I used Cure Pro, I couldn't help but notice or couldn't help but think that it seemed to be the perfect consistency for doing Petri art. So I don't know if you've never tried Petri art with resin before, it's where you use alcohol ink in different colours, and then you add drops of white alcohol ink on top, and it pushes the coloured alcohol ink down through the resin, and you get sort of like tendrils, which creates a really interesting effect in your resin. And normally when I've done it, I've used a sort of the high gloss resin, and I've waited for that to thicken up to a consistency that won't just where the white just won't fall through and leave massive blobs of white underneath, but also isn't so thick that the colours can't push through. So you kind of want the resin to be a sort of honey consistency, which this is. So it is a bit of an experiment because I've not done it with Cure Pro before because it's a relatively new resin to the Apex Resin family. But I just thought it seemed like the perfect consistency. So I'm going to give it a go and hopefully it's going to work. So come along with me on the journey and we'll see if we get any Petri effects. Right, we're ready to go. So there's my coasters with the pre-filled edge that I filled from a previous project. I've just mixed up 140 millilitres of Cure Pro. So 70 millilitres of resin, 70 millilitres of hardener. I don't want to fill these coasters all the way. I want to allow a little bit of space, for the inks, because when you drop inks in, obviously you're adding extra liquid, but also to put a backing on them afterwards. So I'm hoping to divide this evenly between the two, just so that it's near the top, but not quite at the top. You need a deep enough layer that your inks have got enough space to fall and move. But like I said, not so deep that you haven't got any extra room to add your liquids. Now I normally do put this into an extra paper cup, but seeing as I'm only adding clear, I thought I'd save that step for this one. And just pour it straight in from the cup I've mixed it in. There is the risk, obviously, when you do this that you're adding in unmixed resin, but I have mixed this really well. So I'm hoping that that's not going to be the case with this. Right, I think they're full enough. Got a tiny bit left in here, next to nothing. Just have a quick check. Never easy to tell because my table's always on a bit of a slant. I try and level my table or my tray. I just pop in a couple of lollipop sticks underneath it at this end. I think is that too high? I wish I had my own craft room. How many of you have your own craft room if you're watching? Right, because I'm using alcohol inks, you don't want to be using a naked flame once your alcohol inks go in. The good news with alcohol inks, a bit like isopropyl alcohol really, is that it by nature will cause the bubbles to pop anyway, but I'm trying to get rid of some of these surface ones before I start. I don't really want this resin to sit though. This Cure Pro is a lovely consistency. This is why I thought it would work really nicely for Petri art. It's kind of like a honey consistency from the get-go, which is what you want when you're trying to get the Petri art effect. So I'm going to go straight in. Now these are resin inks from Octopus Fluids, I think they're called. I've got Smurf and Strawberry. They're slightly different. They are alcohol inks, but they're slightly different to normal alcohol inks in that they're more concentrated. I think when I read about them, they say they're up to 5 times more concentrated than regular alcohol inks. So to use them sparingly. So I've just opened them off camera, only because they get a little bit crusty around the edge. I've used this quite a lot, so I'm trying to make sure that I don't get any of that in the resin itself. We have one more quick bubble blast. There's a tiny bit gone in there. So I can just get out with a cocktail stick. There you go. And I'm going to open the strawberry as well. Now, when you're doing anything with a Petri effect or anything with alcohol inks, it's important you let the ink spread as well first before you start adding any white, because you want them to float across the surface of your resin before you start adding any effects to them. So I'm going to go slow, and I'm going to kind of go in a like this, and then in the gaps and this one I'm going to do in reverse. So the strawberry, oh, you need a steady hand. I love watching alcohol inks. Okay, now I think you shouldn't need much more. It sounds ridiculous because normally you go in with multiple different layers. I've not tried this with resin inks before, so we're going to see. I think I've just put the wrong lids back on the wrong colours. Yes, I have. Right, I'll just put the right colours on over here. So I've now got, I'm just letting those move across the surface. And then I've got this resin ink Enoki, sorry, I know it's out of focus, there we go. White pigmented, strong effect, resin ink, see Petri dish effect, Enoki, but you've got to shake it really, really well. So I'm giving it a really good shake. I've not tried the Petri effect before with Cure Pro. This is the first time. Equally, I've not tried it with resin inks, only with alcohol inks. So this is a complete, hopefully that should be mixed enough. A bit more for luck. Okay. I don't know how many drops it's going to need. I don't know how many, at some point, look, I've got blue on this. So I'm going to go in a few different drops. And you'll start to see it react with the, with the resin inks, because what you want it to do, what the purpose of the white is to, I'll swap hands. I know that some places you're getting a double drop, but I'm not too worried because, again, this is kind of a bit of an experiment for me to see how this works with resin inks, which, like I said, they are basically the same. They are alcohol inks. They're just slightly more pigmented. They're slightly stronger. But the test for me is going to be, do I add more? Because to me, that looks like it's all pulling away, but you've no idea what it's doing underneath. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go in again. Now, with whites, you do run the risk of getting white blobs underneath if you use too much. It's not a technique, I'll be honest, that I've done too often. It's a technique that I absolutely love. I think it looks really effective. It's one I'd like to get better at. All right, let's try that. But I do think, actually, that I am. So you get some lovely effects on the back. I just don't know what this is going to look like underneath. And it's scary because they say they're pigmented and to go sparingly. I don't want to run the risk of absolutely destroying any effects that are forming. So I don't think, sometimes with alcohol inks you can go in multiple times and it builds up the effect, but I think with these, twice is going to be all I'm going to do. So once at the start, once now, and that'll be it. So we'll go in with our white again. I'm going to give it another shake. They look really pretty on the back. I'm sure they'll probably be doing something underneath. Just trying to place one blob in the middle. Right, and now the question is, do we do more white or do we leave these as they are now and see what happens? The annoying thing is you cannot see what's going on through the resin. So I don't know if they're dropping down. I don't know if they're causing a Petri effect. It's really hard to tell. I'm sure something will be happening. And I could run the risk of ruining it if I do one more white. We could do an experiment, couldn't we? We could do one that's got one bit of extra white and one that doesn't. So maybe if we do this one, which was got the 4 blue, not the 5 blue. Oh, look, it's so pretty though, isn't it? Can you see? I don't know if I can, I can't zoom in at the moment for some reason. I'll see if I can go down afterwards. Let's just go with one more. And I won't do it on the other one. And we'll see if we get, did I do one on that one? I don't think I did. Okay, so this one has had one extra drop of white than this one did. But I think I'm going to leave them there because this is the first time I've done it with resin inks and with Cure Pro. So I want to just see what happens. They look like flowers, don't they? See, now if you could, theoretically, that could be the top of your coaster and these could almost be like flowers and then you just pour a top coat over the top. You get some really gorgeous effects. But I'm really interested to see if this is working because it's definitely interacting with it. You can see as these are closing up. So I'm just wondering if it's doing something underneath. But I'm going to leave it alone. I'm scared to play around with them too much because I don't know if they're doing anything. They might be doing nothing at all, but we'll wait and see. So after these are cured, I think I'm going to pour a dark layer on the back, perhaps a dark grey, so that we can see the colours more vibrantly. It's really hard to leave them alone because I can't tell what they're doing and I don't know if I've done enough. But it does say that they're concentrated. So whereas if it was alcohol inks, I probably would go again. I think I'm going to leave them there because if nothing else, they look so pretty on the back, but I am going to be covering that up. So I think I'm going to try and trust my instincts and just leave them and hope that we've got some really pretty effects. But these are going to cure now. I'm going to leave these for, I'll probably pour the base layer. It's the morning at the moment. I'll probably pour the base layer on later on tonight. And then we'll demold them and have a look at what they look like tomorrow. So I will see you later. I just thought I'd take you down off my stand, so excuse the shaky camera work, so you could see them in a bit more detail. Look how pretty they are. The colours are gorgeous as well. Look at that bit there. It's like petals on a flower, and there. I hope we've got some nice effects from this. It'd be really interesting to see. Okay, I'm going to leave them alone now. These are ready to have the backing poured on them now. I actually ended up leaving them overnight just with one thing or another, so they're completely cured. This is the one that had the extra drops of white, so you can see there's quite a bit of white sitting on the surface of this one. They do look as if something's happened underneath on both of them. So when we turn them out, we should see some nice patterns, some nice Petri effects, I'm hoping. I'm going to pour a black background to them. This is Soot mica powder from Create and Bloom Crafts. I haven't gone for an opaque. I've just gone for a mica powder. This should have a slight subtle shimmer to it, I hope. Nothing too glittery, but just equally nothing too somber, I'm hoping. Just enough to pick up or to show up rather the effect, the white effect. So I'm going to do some on there. So all I've mixed up is 60 millilitres of Cure Pro, because there was not very much space on the top of these, so I didn't need much at all. So it was 30 mils of resin and 30 millilitres of hardener. Should be plenty. I'm going to coax it right to the edges. You can see it's ever so slightly transparent. I guess I was a bit scared of losing the feathery effect, but we'll soon see if this was a mistake to not go for something completely solid or not. So we're just going to push the black right the way to the edge. I stuck with Cure Pro just because we've done the rest of the coaster in Cure Pro, and also because it'll make sure that the underneath of our coaster is completely cured beautifully with no tacky finish or anything like that. Because you can rely on Cure Pro to give you an absolutely pristine finish no matter the temperature or humidity of your working space. Needs just the last little bit from in here. But 60 millilitres was absolutely perfect. There you go. So these will just now finish curing, and then we will be ready to demold them and see what effects we've created. And hopefully we should have something really pretty. There you go. Right, we'll be back soon for the demold. Finally, time for the demold. Okay, so we'll start with this one. This was our one with our extra white. You can see the black is quite transparent on the back, so I hope I did do it dark enough. And I also hope that they're going to look really pretty, so take that one out first, and then this one. Okay, right, we'll turn this one over first because this was the one that didn't have the extra white, so we'll see if we've got, oh, look at that, that's really cool. So Cure Pro works beautifully for Petri art. I'll zoom in a second. So we've got our beautiful sparkly glitter rim. And yeah, I think the backing is just enough actually. Just enough to make those colours pop. So now, let's check out if this one looks better or if this one is a bit overboard on the white. Slightly too much. We've got slightly too many blobs in the centre, but you can see the difference in that I think it's created almost a slightly more of a petal effect. Certainly I can see it in the red. Let's see if I can zoom in 2 seconds. So look at those effects. So this is just using Cure Pro straight from pouring, so no leaving it to sit. It was the perfect consistency, and that's what I thought. That's why I thought it would work really, really well. And then this is the one that had the extra white. Look at those Petri effects in there. Love this one. If I can bring that. Oh, really happy with those. And yeah, I think the backing is just enough. Well, let me know what you think. I'm really happy with those, and it's fab to know that Cure Pro is just yet another use for just such an amazing resin. But yeah, they look slightly different now. That's my only thing. They don't quite match. But they were an experiment again to see if Cure Pro was good for Petri art, which we've now seen that it is. So we can do lots and lots of different techniques with that one. So if you're into your Petri art, get yourself some Cure Pro because it works fantastically. No having to leave it to sit to get to the right consistency. It's just good to go from the start. I can't stop looking at these. So I probably didn't need that extra dab of white. I can't remember if I did 1 or 2 now. I think it was 1, wasn't it? Unless I did. Anyway, but yes, let me know what you think in the comments. I absolutely love the effects I've got in these ones. I'll definitely try this one again with Cure Pro. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you again soon.